refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Morning Dinner Podcast. It's your boy, Keem.
And Chuck, what up?
And we host the Morning Dinner Podcast, which is a podcast based out of Las Vegas, where we sit down and have conversations, interviews, and just, kind of shoot the shit with local artists, entrepreneurs, and creators and hustlers. And today we got B Rose in the house.
What up?
What up, B Rose?
Yeah.
How's your day going so far?
It's good. Just waking up.
It's a lovely Saturday day, right?
Yeah.
Saturday morning.
We usually like to film these episodes on the weekdays, but I was out.
Right.
I was out of town all week, and today is the day we make it happen.
Making it happen.
For those who don't know, real quick, can you let the people know who you are and what you do out here?
Yeah, I'm a Vegas-based singer-songwriter, soul R&B, But yeah, that's what I do.
How long have you been making music for?
I started performing with my band about 5 to 6 years ago. So, and I met John, my partner. I met him in high school at LVA, so I started singing out there.
Wait, John went to LVA?
Yeah.
When you say John, is you talking about Scott Dam?
Scott Dam,
the music producer.
Yeah,
he's out here in Vegas too. He's supposed to be here with us today, but he wasn't unable to make it.
Yeah, he's a busy man.
But yeah, so you've been making music for 5-6 years.
5-6 years, yeah, releasing music and stuff.
Okay, and it's all been original music, right?
Yeah. No, we've filmed some covers back in the day, but everything I've released, I wrote. And yeah.
How do you feel about the whole industry of a cover artist or people who just make covers and upload them to YouTube as opposed to making their own original music?
It's interesting because I feel a lot of those people have gained a lot of success just because YouTube is so huge. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm just personally I need to write. I don't feel right singing covers all the time. I love to do a cover if we have a live show, throw some covers in and try to be original. But for me, I just need to write. I don't know. But I think I commend all the people that have done covers because people are touring, just from YouTube success. And
who's that girl that on YouTube that does all the covers? Madeline Bailey. Do you know who she is?
No, I don't know her.
Oh, she's killing it.
Really?
But she does covers of other people's songs, but she has her own unique sound to it.
Right.
And right now she's on tour, doing her own music.
I'm telling you,
I like that.
It could set you up for real. People are getting discovered that way a lot, and I think it's awesome, especially when you can make it original. I think,
real quick, you might just want to move the microphone a little bit closer.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Get that crispy quality sound going.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been making music 5-6 years.
Yeah.
That's actually not a long amount of time for the amount of stuff that you've accomplished.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
Because the first time I heard about you was when everybody was on Instagram and they were posting B Rose is performing at Life is Beautiful.
Oh,
I was like,
really?
Oh, damn. I was like, who is this? And then I look you up and I'm like, God damn, that voice.
Yeah, I can hella sing.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Have you been singing longer or less than you've been writing?
Yeah, no, I've definitely been singing longer. I grew up. My parents are both musicians, so I grew up in a music household. And in high school at LVA, that's when I started singing by myself. I was in choir all 4 years, but I started taking vocal jazz, and I was ooh, my teacher was you can't sing classical, stick to jazz, R&B, you need to stick to that. And so I started writing a little bit after high school, and yeah, so I've been singing my whole life.
So jazz, is that kind of like skit scat, or was it?
Scatting. I was singing Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra. Yeah, but it helped me singing that style because it's so free form and improv-y. It helped me start writing too and get comfortable writing melodies and stuff. That's what helped me. Jazz for sure. So yeah,
it's crazy how jazz has a lot of help in a lot of different types of music, hip hop.
Yeah,
just jazz influence in almost everything.
No, it's crazy, and I feel people look over it and they don't give it as much credit, or they're oh, jazz, whatever. But I'm it just has such a solid foundation, and I just love it because it shows you that you don't have to stick to the meter, the
same melody.
You can mess around.
You can jump around. You can do some sporadic stuff. Yeah. Experimental.
Nice. So your name is Brittany, but you go by B Rose.
Yeah, I changed that after Life is Beautiful. I think I was it just sounded a little corny, so I was B Rose. We're just gonna keep it like that.
But where did that come from?
My dad.
Your dad?
Yeah, he called me that growing up. He'd just be B Rose, but as a joke. Yeah. And then my bandmates were yo, that's kind of tight. You should keep that.
I think that's kind of a cool little meaning behind it too, because if you think about it, B Rose is Brittany rose, or she rose up. You know what I mean?
Oh, damn.
Think about it. I don't know if that's a word, rose.
No, I like it.
Yeah, you're right.
Is it?
A rose?
Because you think about it, if you say somebody's rising, how do you say if somebody already
they rose up. Or,
hey.
yeah,
I think it's a rose. I don't know.
No, I'm saying it's also a flower too. Like, you know, like.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it budded, it grew.
I'm just saying you can give it a double meaning.
I know. I've never thought of that. I like that a lot.
Wait, how old were you when you realized that you could sing? And did you have any insecurities when you first started singing?
Oh, I'm still insecure as hell.
Really?
Oh yeah. When I think like it was like Christmas at my grandma's, and I was like 10, and I started singing like opera, like as a joke, and my mom was like, "Oh shit!" Like, and it wasn't necessarily like a perfect voice or anything. It was just like big. Like I've always just had a really loud voice. So then I was like, okay, like I think I have, like I can sing in some way, but now I need to learn how to control it. And so then in high school, I was like, okay, now I need to like focus on technique and learn how to breathe correctly and all that. But yeah, insecurity, I don't know. I think singing is just so vulnerable. Like, you know, when you're playing an instrument, it's like if you play the wrong note, you're playing the wrong note on the instrument. But when you're singing, it's like if you fuck up, like it's you. So I've always been super insecure. And I'm a bigger woman, and like performing is intense, you know? Yeah, so, but I try to keep confident, and nowadays it's easier because there are a lot of different types of artists, but yeah.
How did you go about finding your style? Because like I know so many people who have such good voices for singing, but they don't know what kind of music they should be making. They don't know, like, you know, because either they're not songwriters or
they
whatever.
fall like on a generic path or something like that.
Yeah, or you know, like how, because your sound, I feel, is very unique, and it's unique to your own voice. Like how did you go about finding, like, okay, this is the kind of music that I want to make, as opposed to I'm gonna go make pop music or you know?
I mean, I think all music has growth. Like if you listen to like my early shit, like it sounds completely different. So I didn't know what I was doing really at first. Like I just wanted to write, and I was writing from my heart. I usually just can't, like I usually have to write from personal experience. So that's how I started, just writing. And I didn't think too much about style, but my voice has always sounded a little like soulful. And then honestly, like meeting John, he kind of helped me find my sound, or Scott Dam or whatever. He helped me find my sound, because it was interesting. Like the first EP we did like all live instrumentation, and it was more raw. And then the second was like really, really produced, which almost like too poppy, you know? And so now like I feel confident. I feel like we found our sound, and it's just straight up soul, with a pop influence, of course. But it takes a while to figure out like exactly where you're at musically, because I didn't know, you know? I was just writing, and I was a kid. But now like,
so it just comes with like trial and error too. I
think so, for sure. Because I don't think, I think all of my friends that are musicians in the city too, like all of our music has had some type of growth as far as production. Like I didn't know what production was when I was, you know, 18. I was like, what production? Like, you know,
what does that mean? I just thought I just download this beat off SoundCloud.
You know, so yeah. But again, like John's definitely helped me find my sound. It's important to have another ear, I think, too. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's important to have not only like a producer, but also like I would say like a executive, like kind of like just a second opinion of
exactly.
It's almost like a music director, right? It kind of helps you find your sound.
100%.
Like that. Yeah. Do you think it would, like, would you advise somebody who is an artist who's trying to like make a name for themselves, you know, if they don't produce or they don't songwrite, should they like get a team, or is it like, should they try to do it on their own? Should they try to find somebody that they can bounce ideas off of? Like, what advice would you have for somebody?
I mean, I think it definitely depends on the songwriter and the artist, because some people it just comes natural to them. Like I have certain friends that are like signed now that they've just always got it. Like they always knew who they were. They knew, you know, what their production needed to sound like. But I think it's important for you to have some type of team around you, whether it's like you can make your music all by yourself. Like I don't really like, you know, collaboration as much. Like I love writing by myself.
Like if you could do everything by yourself, you would.
Oh, I totally would. I mean, of course, like having John is everything, because I don't know how to do all the technical shit. It drives me crazy.
John is that guy.
No,
I mean, Scott Dam.
No, Scott Dam, right. No, but I really don't understand the technical aspect of it. But having just some type of core team, whether it's somebody that's helping promote you, or whether it's somebody that's listening to your music and giving critique, like that's so important, because a lot of the time when you're writing something personal, you get wrapped up in your head, and you don't really realize how it comes off you know, to other people. So I think that's important.
That's real.
Where would you draw the line between, like, you know, because let's say you're a singer-songwriter, you're writing your music, you have a producer, they have their own idea for how you should sing your songs, or like, where do you draw that line? You know what I mean? Like between the collaboration.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been in that instance before, and I think sometimes when you have somebody that's done it for a while or has worked with certain people, you get really excited and you're like, I'm gonna allow them to, you know, do whatever they want to me as an artist. But I think you have to kind of like really take your time and think about who you're working with and what they're trying to change about you, because I think sometimes that change can deter you from like being successful. So I think it's important to really say like, who am I as an artist? What are these things that somebody could strip away from me? And are they trying to, you know, or are they trying to just like push me in a certain direction, but like edit down what you are, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's definitely a fine line. Like I can't give advice because I've messed up on it too, you know, but I think
you could give advice because you've gone down.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I think trying to write down everything that you are as an artist, like having it on paper or in your phone or whatever, and say, you know, like for me, mine's like, I'm a bigger woman, I'm biracial, like I'm soul. Like those are the 3 things I don't ever want anybody to take from me, even if they're like, well, you need to be a pop girl or just need to be a writer, you know? I've gone to auditions where they've looked at me and said no before I started singing. So I just think it's important to like have that, like your foundation of who you are, and then say, okay, do I want to take from certain producers? Do I want to change this? Are they trying to help me, or are they trying to deter me from, you know, who I am?
100%.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie, A Star Is Born?
Oh my God. I was crying for 2 hours after the movie. Mascara was like running. I just relate to that movie like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Like there were so many things. Like the dad's a limo driver that like wants her to sing, and like my dad's a limo driver that's always,
really?
Yeah, I was like, this is too much.
Spot on.
I get emotional thinking about it. Yeah, that movie's fucked up, but amazing.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that popped out to me, because I was on a flight back from Orlando and I was watching it on the TV they had there. I had my headphones on, and one of the things that like the character Bradley Cooper had said is basically saying like, be true to you in your music, because the moment that you're not, people are gonna sniff the shit out of it and they're gonna notice it.
No, yeah.
You know, and it kind of goes back to what you were talking about insecurities before. Like, do you think an artist has a right to be insecure, or do you think they should just find a way to get over it? Because as an artist, like if you're insecure, people will see that insecurity and then they'll pick on it, you know what I mean? As opposed to like you owning that shit.
Right. I think it depends what kind of music you make, because nowadays, like there are people that their entire brand is being insecure, you know what I mean? Or like talking
about that emo rap.
No, seriously, like, and like millennials or even the younger kids, like they love that, because like now the younger generation's obsessed with being sad. So if that's your brand,
what is up with that? Like, I'm gonna say this right now. I love Billie Eilish, but her music can be very depressing sometimes.
And the kids are upset. I have every student I teach is upset. Can we sing Billie Eilish today? Can we sing Billie Eilish today? Can we sing XXS whatever? And I'm like, hello, like you are 12, like, you know. But I think if that's the type of artist you are, or if you write a lot about insecurity, then it's okay. I think it's important not to let the industry, you know, totally mess up your core and your mental, you know, the industry's intense. So hopefully it doesn't mess up your emotional state. But if you're a fucking confident ass bitch, like Lizzo, do you guys know Lizzo?
Yeah.
She's like that, like she's like this big black girl, and she is like killing it right now. And her entire brand is confidence, and that's what she writes about. So I think it depends on the artist for sure.
Damn. You had mentioned, crap, I forgot where I was going with this. You had mentioned something that triggered something in me. Back to the role of confidence. Like, do you think that? Shit, bro, I forgot it again.
It's early.
What do you need help with?
No, she had mentioned confident. Oh yeah. No, I forgot about it.
You know what? Do you, bro?
Bro, I'm literally blanking. Like it's on the tip of my tongue right now.
I want to ask one thing. It's just like for your insecurities, like how do you face that, your nervousness and everything before you go on stage and all the thoughts? Like what's like a good process that you go through? So ease of mind.
Yeah, it's super tricky to navigate, I think, but I just, as soon as like I'm playing music, it all goes
in the zone.
away.
Yeah, you disappear.
But like talking to like drives me fucking crazy. Like I lose
being an MC and stuff.
Oh my God.
How y'all doing?
Yeah, it drives me crazy. Like I remember one time I didn't even introduce myself. Like but as soon as the music's on, I'm fine. I'm in my zone. Like I feel like super confident. I feel like the skinniest bitch in the world. Like, you know, I just feel great. But yeah, the before and after, I don't know. And I think after too, you feel amazing because you have people there supporting you. And if people like it, if you have a good crowd, like that's what keeps fueling me to be like, all right, I'm a confident bitch. Yes, we're killing it, whatever. But Yeah, because a lot of people say like, I can't tell that you're insecure when you're performing at all.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and I think that's what you want to come across, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you should do that.
That's exactly what I was gonna ask too. I wrote it down when you asked me. I wrote it down. I was like, the role of confidence when you're performing, like, you know, because you don't want to come across as like, oh, do you guys think I'm okay? You want to own it, right? When you're on stage and you're 100%. Doing your thing, like you want to come across as a confident, even if you have your own insecurities, you don't want the audience knowing that.
Right? No, 100%.
Because it's funny, because like you can even on a fuck up, you can come out confident on that fuck up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even though it'd be awkward for a lot of people, I've seen people be like, "Oh shit, I fucked up."
Right. But it shows like humanity.
Going,
yeah.
I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, that's tight too.
I've seen artists who like fall off stage, or like we were talking to Sophia Maria. She's another singer out here. Back in January, we did a podcast with her, and she mentioned that she had fallen off stage.
Oh gosh.
Like, and it was a pretty big fall, but like,
that's no
and I mean, I think she ended up hurting herself pretty bad, but she recovered from it, and she like, you know, she kind of, you know, she used it to her advantage. So she didn't let it cripple her, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's just how you handle it.
Yeah.
And I think people like when you kind of like aren't perfect, because it shows that you're relatable to them, you know, like falling or like messing up lyrics or whatever. Like,
yeah, it makes you human.
Yeah, it's like, oh, she's relatable. Okay, like I mess up too, you know. Yeah. But falling, that's intense. I would have cried. Yeah. That's no joke.
Yeah, I mean, stage too.
Yeah,
I mean, even like tripping on stage, like if you just kind of like miss a step or something.
That's
I've seen some funny ass things.
There's videos.
Like,
yeah,
it's like a few people like what's his name, the Travis Scott.
Oh my God, I saw that.
They all make me laugh.
He fell hard as hell, though.
They like disappear.
Yeah.
Because like the stage is built a certain way.
Yeah.
So they'll just be walking, they'll just disappear.
It's so scary.
That's funny.
God.
Let's talk about the fact that you won a spot to perform at Life is Beautiful.
Yeah.
How did that opportunity come across?
So that was 2016, and since high school, John and I had been in like, they had like little showcases on, you know, local artists that they would potentially put on the bill, and we had never got it. I think it was like we started when we were like 14 and 15 maybe, and then in 2016 they did like a bracket style Battle of the Bands at Brooklyn Bowl, and it was like 20 bands or something crazy. It was insane. And it was like the span of like 2 months. And I was like, fuck this. Like, I hate competition. I don't want to do it. And my drummer was like, do it. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, at least you're going to perform at Brooklyn Bowl, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, like, let's do it. And we played, and like every week they would kind of knock out. You would play against somebody, and then one would, you know, bracket style, I guess. I don't know anything about sports, but
what does that mean, bracket style? Oh, kind of like where you like
move against like one person, and then that person wins, and then you go to and then the next
gotcha.
Yeah, so it was like super intense, and they made like really dramatic. And then we got to like the top 4, and we ended up winning, and it was just like crazy. It was the best day ever.
But what dictated you winning? Was it just like the audience votes?
It was audience. There was votes. It was
kind of like a hip hop thing where they put the microphone out to the audience and they go, cheer. If you want to hear it for B Rose, let me hear it. You know, kind of like
no, it was definitely more in like the people that were running. It was more like they kind of got decided. But I remember when it was Final Four, there was a voting thing, and I was just like, vote, and like my entire band had like all their parents' companies voting, and we were just like, vote, you know. But at the same time, we didn't know, and no offense to any of those people, but we didn't know if it was rigged or like whatever, you know. So we were just kind of like, and then I think they decided based on performance, and then like who you brought, and I think it was a culmination of things. But yeah,
I think that's the one thing people default to the most. A lot of the times is like, oh, it's got to be rigged. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
And it's because if you think about the industry, a lot of success is based upon who you know, right?
Right.
You can be the most talented person, but if you're not well connected, you don't go out and network.
Exactly.
You might as well, you know, just stay where you're at, as opposed to somebody who has semi talent, but they just have that personality that people gravitate towards.
Right.
That's the thing.
You know?
If you fill out a venue and you're a nobody, I'm gonna want you back. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
it sucks.
Oh yeah, because it ain't about the music.
No, right.
Because it ain't about the music at that point. It's about like, yo, we're making money off of the sales here.
It's the business side, which is sad.
It's no joke in there, man. That industry shit is crazy. Yeah. Just the stories that you hear, you know.
How was the experience of performing at Life is Beautiful?
Amazing. It was so fucking cool because they treated us like talent. Like I think a lot of the time when you're a local band or whatever, and I try not to like say that. I don't know. I think that sounds like silly. Like John and I are like, I don't know, it's just saying like local. I feel like it's like you're an artist, like you're a Vegas-based artist, you know? But a lot of the time when you play shows, it kind of almost feels like you're like asking them, can I play? And like, you're kind of like doing everything for the people that hold the venue. But at Life is Beautiful, it was like they were like, we're having you play, like you're the talent.
Did you guys get a trailer?
Talent. Huh?
Did you guys get a trailer?
Yeah, we had like
That's
a
so
trailer.
tight.
You were like golf carting around. You could see celebrities everywhere. It was just fucking like great, and they just treated you with so much respect. And like, I've never been treated like that, you know, especially as somebody that doesn't have a follow, you know, as much of a following yet, and whatever. Like, so it was just like the best weekend ever. Yeah, it was really.
Do you guys know who runs Life is Beautiful?
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they have other stuff here in Vegas too, right?
Yeah, because it's a whole bunch of investors who probably have money and everything. You know what I mean?
Is it the guy from Zappos? Does he have any part in it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure Zappos Downtown Project has money in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like all those, like it's a lot of people from what I know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know who the main core like.
I only knew
people
the head of booking and his Craig Ashman, Craig something. Craig, he's dope though. He was, or Craig Nyman. He was the head of booking. He was who like helped book us for the festival, and he books all the artists. And he was really, really cool.
What stage did you play? Do you remember?
Huntridge.
Huntridge?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That was dope. That's tight.
And of course, like they put us at like 3, but like who cares?
2016.
Yeah, Huntridge. We were like right before, it was like Bishop Briggs was playing.
Was that when
night.
Earl Sweatshirt played that year?
I don't think
Or is
so. I
that
think that one.
2015?
I think that was 15. Yeah,
Oh, damn.
yeah. I think because I would have.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This was like Major Lazer and J. Cole.
I don't think I went to that one.
Yeah, it was super cool. I think
That's dope.
that was, and the only reason I went was because I was playing. Like I've never been able to. That shit's expensive, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, festivals in
Hella
general.
expensive.
We're
I
talking to
know.
Artie. I'm like, have you ever been to a festival? He's like, no, they're pretty expensive, man.
They really
Because if you think about it,
are.
even if it's like in city, the tickets are expensive. But if you go out of city, like you got to think about where you're gonna stay.
So much.
You think about food, travel, gas,
Right.
all those kinds of costs.
That's like a hot.
One thing too that's hard for me for festivals is because I understand coming from I'm not an artist, but I can understand like when an artist isn't having the best of time, or they're on tour, or they get sick or anything. But I've seen bands and they just don't do too great, and I'm like, ooh, but I don't judge them. I'm like, I'm not gonna judge you here. Like I'm gonna, like when I judge you is when I see you at a personal concert,
Right.
And I'm like, this is just us. This is for us. I'm here for you. You're here for
100%.
us. So I'm like, I want you to show your A game a little bit. But I
Right.
understand if you're sick.
No, I know. I totally
that
agree.
sucks.
I've noticed it as festivals, especially because they're getting paid up front
Yeah,
to be on the
and it's
bill.
kinda watered down
Sometimes
a
they
little.
get a little lazy. Like they're like, and more than they would be at their own show. But it's true. Like when you see festival performances, sometimes they won't be the strongest,
Yeah.
just because of the fact that they're just getting paid. I don't know. It's not their show.
I think downtown's getting a lot of cool attention right now. Like with the I don't know if you know, but there's this guy here in Vegas, Michael Sherwood, and he did a speech out in Florida when I went to this conference, and he was talking about how there's so much AI that's happening, like with the autonomous vehicles. Like those vehicles that are self-driving.
Yeah, we have a little bus that takes you down the street now.
Yeah.
Really?
And
Yeah.
downtown?
Oh, I didn't even know there was a bus.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
shit.
it's like a little car, and it like just takes people down the street. It's
Wow.
autonomous.
Yeah, there's no driver in it.
No way.
Yeah, and then they're also like all the traffic stops. They're having cameras that are collecting data now. So like they see how many cars travel past a certain area on any given day, and they can use that information to predict like when car accidents are going to happen,
No way.
when construction needs to happen, like when the
Yeah.
busiest times and all that stuff. I think it's pretty crazy how and he was showing me that downtown Las Vegas was probably one of the most innovative places where they're doing the most with artificial intelligence and all that stuff.
Wow.
I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen there.
No, it's cool.
And it's cool just the fact that everything is going down there. I think there's a lot that's going to be building out as far as like venues and artists coming by. It might be like the new how they say LA or the new New York
Just
culture.
for sure.
Actually, like have an actual arts district. You know what I mean? Where
Right.
people like in the LA, the arts district down there, I heard is so tight. compared
Yeah,
to
no,
here,
it's oh my god, no, LA is it's crazy, but I think it's cool because downtown Las Vegas, they're constantly creating. Like
Yeah,
there's
it's
constantly
new.
something happening.
I like that.
At first it was Life is Beautiful, and now they're doing all, you know what I mean, like modern technology, and I just think it's cool. Like I enjoy being downtown because I'm always inspired, and that's how I feel like in LA, most parts of LA.
Yeah.
Have you performed in other cities outside of Las Vegas?
You know what? I actually haven't. I've done a couple like acoustic things, but not like full band, not yet. And tour is like something I've always been passionate about. I just think I really want to do it correctly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a correct way to do it, but I want to take time and like really think about it, because like, you know, at the time I had a really big band when I started thinking about tour. It was like 7 of us, and like that's so crazy.
Do you still have a band, or is it kind of like
I do, yeah. The bands are hard.
Yeah, we heard that from a few.
We were talking to Shabrielle about that. She was saying that like it's a lot easier when you're just a single artist as opposed to having to pay out a whole band.
It's no joke, and I think, you know, when there's friendships, it gets really, really hard. And yeah, I had the same band for pretty much 5 years, and now it's like in this weird transition period. So I'm trying to figure it out. But and it's crazy when it has like nothing to do with you either. Like, just like,
well, even like I know bigger artists like with who have hundreds of thousands of followers, or even are doing like nationwide tours. Like they don't have a set band like that's gonna be there forever.
Hire people out.
They hire people out, you know, like, or they have a house drummer or whatever.
No,
like,
you
know what I mean? So it's always like, you know, you as an artist, it's always you. But like as far as your band, like it's good to have those connections, those friends, but it's like it's good to know that, you know, unless the on the album cover it's all 4 or 5, 6 of you, like always,
the Roots or something.
You know, you know that you're always gonna alternate, or someone's always gonna have another gig somewhere else.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I think you start to realize, like, even if you know, like I grew up with a band and it was incredible, and I wouldn't trade it back for anything. But at one point I had to start saying, you know, like I'm doing this all by myself pretty much. Like they were helping, of course, like with all the live shows, but as far as like business and stuff and like getting myself out there as an artist, like you're by yourself. And so now I'm just trying to focus just like on me and expanding to a national level, and like not, you know, just continuing to play.
Let the band come at a later point, maybe.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna focus on like recording stuff and like music videos and try to get that, you know, because nowadays like a lot of people are getting signed from going viral or like whatever, somebody discovering you online. Yes. And yes, I can, like, I love playing shows and I feel like I need to perform. I'm going cuckoo, but I think right now it's just about gaining more of a fan base, and I gotta focus on the online stuff. You know,
do you have like a manager, somebody who manages your stuff? Or
no, I've had like a couple really, really great friends help me out and like kind of play manager, but like I used to just use a fake name and pretend I was a manager of myself.
That's smart. That's smart.
And people would like respond 10 times more than they would if it was just me. So I'd be like, this is Brandon. And they would like really take you seriously, you know, as opposed to me being like, hi, I'm an artist. Like, so now I'm just kind of doing it on my own. But
we were talking to Joe Vargas. He owns his own CBD stores out here in Vegas.
Oh, I love.
And it's called Buy Legal Meds. And he was talking about when he was starting out, he would create like 6 different fake profiles for emails. So like Cindy, John, whatever. And then he would email like, oh, this is sales. Oh, this is customer service. This is
so smart.
And he would operate them all by himself. But it made himself look bigger than what he actually was, and it eventually was able to grow to that position.
Chills. Yeah, that's fucking
it was eventually
great.
able to grow to a point where he could hire and fill those positions, you know? So it's definitely a smart thing.
You gotta do it. Yeah, you gotta do your own thing. And I think you only have yourself at the end of the day, especially if you're trying to start something or trying to get people to like you, or, you know, want to buy your product or whatever it is. Like, it's only you. You know, you've got to fend for yourself. That's fucking great. That's I gotta.
And he's very successful right now. Like I think he's opening. He's just opened up his 3rd or 4th location. Like he's killing it right now. Yeah.
That's awesome.
On the path of like fake it till you make it, kind of like that mentality. How do you feel about people who like buy followers and kind of like buy likes and all that stuff? And it's like, you know what I mean? Because I know a couple people who can't fill a room, or can't fill, but for some reason they're getting 1,200, 2,400 likes. Yeah, you know.
I mean, I think it's just about balance. I get it completely, because I find myself looking at my social media and wanting more. You know, it sucks. It sucks. And when you're trying to get people to want to hire you, you want to look good on social media. So I totally get why people buy them, but I think they just have to take a second and think, like, first of all, when people buy them, you can usually tell because their likes don't match up to their following, or vice versa, or whatever. That ratio is a little funky.
The ratio on Instagram is very weird, man. Because I've never once bought a follower. I got some girl with like 2 million followers commented on my photo one time, and I got like 800 followers overnight.
No way.
I'm pretty sure they were fake.
Oh, and
so what I did is I downloaded this app called Cleaner, and then I went into like inactive accounts, and it was like 800 or 900 people, because I used to have like 3,500 followers, but I blocked them and unblocked them basically to kick them off. And still, like, even with the 2,600 organic followers that I have, I'm averaging like 70 to 100 likes. Like the ratio is very off. So
I think it's just a hit or miss. I don't know. And it sucks too, because like in the modeling industry, I remember at one point you had to have a certain amount of followers for agencies agencies to even look at you.
I think they still do kind of do that.
Right.
You know?
And so it's like, I get why people buy them, and John and I are always trying to figure out what the fuck to do. Like, how do we, how to, like, I'm doing like the promotional ads and all that stuff. Like, that's great. I think that's really helped certain
100%.
artists because it's in your face. But I don't know. I get it. But I think also try to think about, like, when other people look at your page, if like you bought hella followers and like the likes don't match, like people are going to know. So it's kind of like,
I think you have to like balance it. You know what I mean? Because like if I went on SoundCloud and I seen somebody with a good amount of plays and likes and comments, I'm most likely, by just perception psychology, I'm gonna hit that track. I'm gonna be like, why are people listening to this track? Yeah. So it might be good, it might be amazing, but I've seen people like they buy all the fake stuff, and I'm like, damn, that tricked me. But the track is dope, so I'm not even tripping.
It's crazy because the level of quality nowadays, like you can have such good quality when it comes to production and to your vocal recording that, you don't look like, oh, it's not this guy in his basement that's just recording in his bathroom. Like it sounds like a legit artist. You know what I mean? So it's like,
it's just so hard to navigate. And I think when people are signed or like already, have hit that success, everything just falls in line for them social media wise. Like it's just there, people like it, they're looking at it. But before being independent, it's hard. But like you said, I think it's about balance.
I will say this though. I reached out to a friend of mine recently. He was congratulating us on the podcast, like, you guys are killing it, doing all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm really happy because the amount of like, views and comments and likes that we're getting on our channel, like it's completely organic. Like we're not paying for subscribers, we're not paying to push our videos anywhere. So even though we only have like 395 right now, 309 subscribers, like it's all organic. Those are people who on their own made the decision to follow us. Like,
I did,
and I thought and I thought that was so dope. And he's like that's cool. He goes, but perception is everything. He goes, so he's like, whenever I put out a video, he said, I always like to boost it like at least like 1,000 views, like because he said the thing is when you premiere something and it's stuck at 1 view, 2 views, 3
nobody's
views,
gonna click on
no one's gonna want to watch it, right? But if they know that other people are watching it, they're more likely to. He was saying like he had a friend who like pushes it to 10,000 views, but then the next 100,000 are organic. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, damn, that's kind of smart.
Perception is the key component in life. That's why like fake it till you make it. It's a weird thing. Like I say, you don't have to do it. You know what I mean? But it kind of works in certain aspects.
It sure does. I mean? Yeah. And I think you guys are a perfect example of like, if you have a good like you guys have a great product, and that's what attracted my eye. I was like, oh shit, like look at this. Ooh, the colors. Like I was like, yes, like, and naturally I think a lot of people did that because you guys had a great product that you were, showing off. And I think that's important. And then maybe,
come to find out it's in our kitchen.
But it's like, it's just so cool. I can't even, especially when I saw it, I was like, ooh, and John was like, yeah, they're killing it. Cause I've done podcasts before and like y'all like are killing, but in a cozy way. In a comfortable way, and it's again relatable to people. But I think like how he said, he tries to bump views up so that it at least looks like at 1,000 or whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. Like I think if you're selling something that's great, yes, people are going to see it. But if you want to bump it up a little bit, then that's fine too. It's just, I guess that comes back to balance too, But
yeah, it's everything. Because you just have to stay progressive with like the age. You know what I mean? Like maybe back in the day, you didn't have to do that,
right?
Because you had to give out like CDs. That's how you got yourself out. But now it's the digital age, so you kind of have to like. It does suck because trust me, I'm like, isn't that fake?
Right.
Doesn't that make me fake? And then I'm like thinking about the bigger picture. I'm like, nah, I got to think about the bigger picture. It's not about organic and all that. Because what can you really say is organic? Because that fool played that probably because of how many views and likes. So is that technically organic? So you can't really put a thing on it. It's kind of like subjective.
What is organic?
And then it's crazy because like it also comes down to scale. Like if you only have like 300 legit followers, but then you're like, you have 70,000 on Instagram, you look completely fake. Right. But then if you look at somebody, because I know somebody personally who has genuinely like 2 million followers, but it shows they have 5 million. Where does that line get drawn of like, is that socially acceptable? Like, who knows? You know what I mean? Like, they still have millions of followers that are organic, but it's like now it's like doesn't matter whether it's 2 million or 5 million, right?
Right. Exactly. It's so subjective. Yeah. Oh, it makes my head just like.
Yeah, me too.
Like all of it is just and even with like streaming. streaming too. Like it's just all like I hate looking at Spotify because you compare, your streams, and that's important.
That's the world that we live in, though. We live in the world where you're looking at numbers constantly
all the time. It is awful. I wish so badly I was like an artist in the 70s, like that was just like let's play Woodstock, like fuck yeah, like I wish.
Making it the hard.
Do you guys ever want to try like the social media delete challenge, where you just like you just delete all your stuff for like a week? You keep your personal stuff, like kind of important stuff on, like your work computer's fine and everything, but everything on your phone you just delete.
I think it'd be great.
And then you're just a week away from it. And I guess like a lot of people are doing it.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of zones them out,
I think I would love to, especially if I was in like on the beach. I shouldn't need to be somewhere, but like if I was somewhere like,
sounds like a place,
nature-y or something, I would, that would sound, I think I need to do that because I'm connected to it. Hell yeah. I'm always on that bitch. Always,
Have you ever looked at your like screen time on your phone? Like it shows you?
That's depressing.
That shit annoys me. I'm a piece of shit.
It's really not good. I try not to look at it, but I'm always on my phone at work anyways because I have to be like finding music for the kids and stuff, and so I'm just like, but my eyes hurt. All of our eyesights are going down the drain. All the younger kids' eyesights are going down the drain. Like that shit, it is an addiction for sure. I think like I'm obsessed with always, but it's also cool because you get to see like. You get to, find other creatives online, or you get to explore new music.
Exactly.
So
it's a balance again.
All comes back to balance for real.
I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy that we live in a world where we have to think about taking social media breaks.
Yeah.
Like that's now a thing where you're like, okay, guys, I need to think about myself and take care of myself.
Right.
So I'm gonna put this away.
Right.
It's
that
like,
should come organically.
It's like it should come organically.
But it doesn't.
Like we should be adults, right? Where we're like, okay, well, I don't need to be on my phone all the time.
Right.
But it's like you said, it's an addiction. Like we're literally addicted to picking it up, and it's not even just that that it's fun to pick it up. It's like maybe we're having a conversation and maybe we're not saying anything to each other right now. Well, okay, what's going on over here?
100%.
It goes on to the next thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be doing that, and I'll be honest. I'll be like, when I'm not feeling it, I'm like, I'm going on my phone.
Yeah.
Like I'm not feeling this conversation. And I know people are like, real. That usually means you don't like that other person. I'm like, nah, it's just like I'm not good with small talk. Realistically, I like talking about things that are actually gonna push me forward in life.
Okay.
So I want to talk about interesting things too. I want to learn about a person. So if they're just talking about like daily news or like sports, I'm like, all right.
Things that don't really
doesn't stimulate you. And that's okay.
If you guys see me look at my phone, I'm just looking at like the little questions.
You're good.
Right. No,
I'm not bored.
No, but it's interesting. You see it all the time, or people that go on dates and stuff's awkward. Like okay, gotta go to my phone. Like it's crazy. It's a way. I think just because we're on our phone so much though, it does fuck up how comfortable we are socializing in person.
Yeah.
That
crazy.
is no joke.
Yeah.
Like I have more friends that have met people online. I did too. Like met people online than in person, like relationship wise and whatever. And like that's more of a comfort zone than like, oh, I'm at a bar and this guy talked to me. Like, oh, that's scary now.
Yeah.
But in the 50s and this, or even the 70s, like that was how you met people.
Yeah.
It's just such it's like a dark hole.
I try to be conscious about it. Like if I'm with my brother, my sister, we've known each other our entire lives. I will be on my phone. If we're having a conversation, I'll still be on my phone.
Right.
But if I'm with somebody that I just met, I am conscious of it.
For sure.
That phone stays in my pocket. Like I'm not especially if we're like having dinner or something like that. Like it stays in my pocket 100%. Because I don't want to come off as like that rude asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, and it's true. It can come off rude. Yeah. No, but it's great that you think like that because some people don't. Like I've tried if somebody's calling me, go, oh, hold on 1 second. But I want to be invested in the conversation. That's how you learn and grow mentally. So I don't know. It's tricky.
That social media game.
That's social. I had to yell at all my students like, get off your phone right now. Get off. I'm talking to you. And they're like, hold on. Like,
so you mentioned students. You mentioned to me before the podcast started that you teach.
Yes.
So do you teach singing or is it?
I teach singing. I teach at a after school program. It's called School of Rock, and they have like two.
Nice.
Where at?
There's two. There's one on Flamingo and Fort Apache, and then there's one in Green Valley. So I teach at the Flamingo. I've taught there for like 4 years now. I'm the head of their vocal department, and it's cool. No.
Wait, so is it like an after school project or is it kind of like a
after school program? Yeah, it's like a performance based. They have all instrument, guitar. It's like a rock based performance program, but they do all styles, and I teach like one-on-one private lessons Monday through Friday, pretty much. Yeah.
How has the experience of singing or teaching to sing been for you? Like, do you do you get like a personal enjoyment, like fulfillment out of it, or is it, you know, like what is that experience like for you?
I really enjoy it. I think it's definitely very psychological, which people wouldn't really understand, but like voice lessons end up being like partial therapy sessions as well. And it's awesome because I've gotten to, you know, watch these kids grow. Like I've been with some of them for 4 years, so I've watched them go from like middle school to high school or whatever. And,
the formative years.
Wow. Yeah, so it's really, really great, and I know them on a personal level, and I really enjoy it because I learn a lot from teaching music. Like I'm learning things that I didn't, you know, technically. I'm teaching things that I need to be more aware of when I'm performing live too. So it's great. But it's super, super psychological. You have to make the kid feel comfortable enough to want to, you know, grow as an artist with you because singing is super vulnerable. But I really enjoy it. I wouldn't rather be doing anything else other than like touring and performing, you know? So.
Right. I think that's super, I think that's super dope though, because like one of the things that I think is I want to say undervalued or underappreciated is the fact of teaching other people. Yeah. Like, and especially with the experience that you have under your belt, like being able to teach from experience. That's one of the biggest things, because a lot of teachers, they don't have that experience. They're like textbook, like, oh, this is why. Right. But when you can speak from experience and connect with them on a personal level, I think that does so much for the city, like, because these kids are going to be the next generation. Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's going to affect their confidence and their ability to do things in life.
Right. Well, that means a lot to me too, because I try to be more of like an artist developer than like just a vocal coach. Because the textbook, like, to me, I never learned shit from that. So I've always just tried to really like lock in like that personal relationship between me and that student individually, and that really helps too, because I'm not just like, you all have to learn how to breathe today. It's like, you need to work on this, you need to work on this.
That's cool. You find like their weaknesses. Right. That's super dope.
Yeah. And I enjoy it. I really like talking to people, and like I like giving advice too. So sometimes they come to me with their little personal boy issues. I'm like, all right, listen. So that's fun too.
Here's my last album. Listen to that.
Oh my God, no, it's awful. My like 12-year-olds come with and they're like, we found your music. And I'm like, no, it's not appropriate. Don't listen to that. Like, please don't. But it's cool.
I was gonna say, have you had any experience with any of your students that stood out to you? They're like, you know, this kid can really sing and it stood out to you, or this person's situation, you know, affected your life in some way. Like, have you had any experiences that pop out that you
definitely
think about?
I think there are a couple of my little like teenage girls that remind me of myself, so I'm trying to like, and the good and the bad, you know, so I'm trying to kind of like deter them from falling into a certain headspace that you can and be insecure, you know, vocally, or think that maybe you're not good enough or whatever when they don't get into auditions, or, you know,
because everything reflects, you know, you're not good enough. If something doesn't happen, you're not good enough.
And so I try to like get them to understand, like, you have to hear like 20 no's before you hear the one yes that matters, you know. And I think some of them are just super, super talented, so I just like enjoy working with them, and like naturally talented. And then there are some that like came in and really didn't have any like experience and like have grown so much. So it's all different, you know. Then there are some that don't really like to sing, but they just like being there. So I enjoy all the different paths, but there are definitely like some incredibly talented kids, and some of them did go to the same high school that I did. So it's cool like talking to them about that, because I'm like, I was you, like, I get it, you know.
And you mentioned something right now that popped out to me. You said a lot of them, you know, they don't really care that much, but they want to be there,
right?
And I think that's half the battle, is wanting to be there, right?
Wanting to be doing something that's not playing video games or like watching or being on your phone, you know.
Wait, so is this like a Monday through Friday kind of thing, like after school, or is it?
Yeah, they have that, and then they have weekends. They're open like 9 to 5.
Okay.
Much. Yeah, so it's that place is packed, and it's, you know, different instruments and whatever. I only deal with the vocals, but they it's cool because they're like I have like little kids singing like Chris Cornell and Foo Fighters. Like, it's cute, you know, like, and it's exposing them to not just what's on the radio now, which I think is so important. Yeah.
Are you a firm believer that anybody can sing? Or do you think, you know, because we're going to hit this topic, because
I would like to know. Like, do you think you can teach anybody, or is there a certain extent like where it's just like?
I think I can teach anyone, and that they can get better, for sure.
They can get better.
They can get better. I don't know if everybody has the capability of being able to sing correctly and well.
Yeah, not everyone's a Whitney Houston.
Right.
But
they can get better for sure. Like, there's a way, if you're consistently workshopping anything, if you're consistently stretching, you're going to be able to do your splits. Like, if you're consistently, you know, like researching something, you're going to know more about it. But you can get better. I think some people naturally do have it. It's all about pitch. Like if you have an ear, I think that's always easier to navigate how they get better. But some people aren't born with one. So, you know.
Yeah, cause I will say this, like there's some songs that I sing and I think I sound good, but then I'll record myself. I'm like, what the shit, man?
But then that sucks too, because like when we record ourselves, it's like on our shitty phone recordings, which doesn't bring out any of the nuances of our voice. Like when you're recording with a microphone and you have an engineer, like that's when we should be like, it sucks. Like I hate hearing myself on my phone too, but we're not recorded with anything that's bringing out all the colors of our voice, like reverb and all, you know what I mean? All those effects. So it's like if a guitarist is just always playing acoustic, like, you know, that's not fair.
Or
you might have a voice, or you might be tone deaf, but I think you might have a voice. But like, let's get you in the studio.
Well,
and then
no, like, because here's the thing, I can hear it. If I hear somebody else sing, I can tell when they're out of pitch. I can tell when they fall out of pocket or whatever, or it's not the right melody or the right tone. Like I can tell.
Right.
But when it comes to me singing personally, I can tell when I really go out of tune. But like for the most part, like I can't hear it until I record myself and I play it back and I'm like, oh shit, that's the whole thing is just terrible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, maybe you just might need a couple lessons. You know.
So hit up B-Rose.
Because honestly, like as long as you're exposed, like when you first become exposed to vocal technique, that's when you're like, oh shit, like now like you might be like, okay, now let me listen back and now I know what I'm actually hearing or why I hear that it sounds bad. You know? Yeah.
What are the different types of voices? Like I know that I heard like alto, soprano, tenor.
Is that just like deep, high, low?
Just
what does that mean?
How comfortable you are in your upper register, like where your comfort zone lies. So like sopranos, they're comfortable singing high. Altos are comfortable singing in the lower for females, and then when you go to boys, tenors are more comfortable singing high for boys. Bass is super super low, and the baritone is between. Yeah, no, literally, you know when you hear like a cappella groups and they're like dum dum. Yeah, there's one guy that's bass because he's just that's where his
that's bass. Dude, there's a fly in here right now.
I saw
stressing me the hell out right now. It's the same fly from the last podcast.
Goddamn fry.
Do you think there's I almost said do you think, but like I heard that back in the day, like really back in like in the 30s, 40s, 50s, like men used to get castrated so that they can sing higher.
Shut your mouth. I have never heard that. That's crazy. But maybe. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, on the record,
wow.
Michael Jackson's was it his doctor? Yeah, his doctor stated he was castrated.
So if you get castrated, your hormones change, right?
Like no, 100%. Yeah, the hormones are completely like off whack.
Yeah.
But that's interesting because like what if they castrated somebody and like it didn't necessarily... I don't know. That's so weird. That's intense. I did not know that. Because like if you castrate somebody that can't sing, so their pitch of their voice when they're speaking just raises. Like,
yeah.
Whoa, that's
so. How do you get a deeper voice?
Right. They're like,
damn, that's a
you hang weights on it.
Oh my god!
He's gonna start
I just
smoking.
pictured that.
He's gonna start smoking and you're gonna sound like this.
Right.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
What were your like main inspirations like at the beginning when you started getting into singing and all that? Or what were you just listening to? What was around?
Yeah, I don't know. I think like, okay, so I started with the vocal jazz stuff. My dad always I always grew up listening to like Motown and
of course,
you know,
the greatest.
Aretha and like just all those, and that was cool because it just like it felt good music wise. Like for me, like rock is very like in your face and it's like it's great too, but like soul music, just like Motown, just makes you like, I don't know, if you're in the kitchen, like it just makes you want to move and like it's not super intense all the time.
That's fun for me.
Yeah, you know, it's just like it feels good, and it wasn't perfect, and that's what I liked. But then going into high school, I just try to listen to like a bunch of shit. Like I remember my boyfriend when we first started dating was like, you don't listen to what I thought you would listen to. Like I would think you would listen to like people that sound like you maybe, or like other soul artists. He's like, you're all over the place. And I was like, yeah, like that's how you learn, you know? So I think I'm just all over the place. I really, when I started to be interested in writing, it was Amy Winehouse, because I was just that thing. She's just so raw. Like, I don't know. I could just feel so much from like how she
like
was.
A lot of emotion.
Just so much. And like just straight up emotion. No sugarcoating. She didn't sugarcoat anything. She didn't try to write to like a formula, you know? So that's what inspired me to start writing for sure. Yeah. She's, that woman.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Since we're on that topic, why do you think that it's like primarily artists, right? Artists, comedians, people who use their creative juices that are the most depressed people, or like, you know?
Maybe because I don't know, maybe because they have an outlet to express themselves, so they're aware that they have fucked up shit going on in their head, and people that don't have that creative outlet a lot of the time bottle it up and don't speak about their depression, you know? Maybe it's just because we're like, this is us, like, you know, like I'm depressed and I'm telling you I am and why I am. Yeah. But some people aren't comfortable being that open. Yeah. So they're just not aware. Like they might be depressed too, or
but they just bottle it up with like, oh, I'm gonna put my whole life into sports.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna go ahead and my life is now dictated. Yeah, my life is based on like how good my sports team does. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or a relationship or something.
Which isn't
like
a bad thing.
Nothing wrong with it at all. I just it's just more
it's
like
different ways of how people express, like you said.
Sure.
Damn, I never thought about it that way. When you're a creative person, you do have that platform to put out exactly how you feel, and it almost like drives you towards that part of your life more, you know, because you're paying more attention to it, right? Because that's where your emotions are coming from. That's where your songwriting is coming from, right?
Well, yeah, like whenever I'm writing, like I just wrote a song about depression the other day. For fucking 2 days, I was like sad, just like for no reason. I was just in this weird headspace and I just felt weird, and I was like, oh well, it's probably because I just wrote about you know what I mean, like you embody and absorb everything that you write, and like there's nothing like it. Like for me, I that's my therapy, like because first of all that shit's expensive, but like when I'm writing, like I have to, you know, I have to express myself. I have to and that's how I like cope with what's going on in my life. But yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah,
the whole aspect of just because I've noticed it, like you always see it in the news, right? You always see these comedians or these artists who end their life really way before their time. You know, pretty sad.
It's super sad.
It's sad that it's. I would even say it's like a majority of like it's comedians that end up, you know, doing self harm, and it's crazy because it's so counterintuitive because they bring joy to people's lives. They bring laughter,
and you seem like they vent the most at anybody because they're always like, you know what pissed me off, you know what I mean, shit like that. But it's I know it goes deeper than that.
Yeah. No, that is true though. A lot of comedians I feel like end up having some type of like issue mentally. Maybe just because they're constantly making other people laugh, but then they don't have anybody to make them feel, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Or maybe they're just like their brain is so advanced that they see the world as how it is, and it's comedian, it's funny to them.
Maybe,
you know, like you know, like it's not as serious. Like life is not as serious to them.
Right, that might be true too. Yeah, it's
we got dark, we got deep with that one.
Hey,
or they see everything as like a damn bit, and they're like, "Damn, I hate my life right now.
Right?
Why is everything a bit?
Yeah.
Why can't I just do cooking?
That's true.
Make a joke. Like, God damn it.
Yeah.
On a lighter note,
I could go dark all day.
On a lighter note, we did a deep dive and we found out that you had opened for Lloyd.
Oh yeah,
at the Brooklyn Bowl.
I was like deep dive could go so many different ways. Yeah, I was like, oh god. Yeah, no, that was super fun. Yeah, I loved his music growing up, so I was like middle school, like hell yeah.
Did you actually get to meet him?
He was like in our dressing room. I don't know, like we didn't really talk or anything. He had like 20 groupies, so we were like,
plus you don't want to be that person that's like, oh my god, I'm your biggest fan,
right? I don't care. Especially before, I don't care to do that shit.
You don't have that part of your brain that goes like, oh, I need to see this artist because I'm their biggest fan, and I need to let them know.
I think it would be different. Like I really love Lloyd, but and I think he's great, but it's not like Erykah Badu, if I was like, I would be like, I need to see her, you know? And not that I didn't like feel like that about him. Like anybody I'm opening for, I'm super thankful. But you always want to make sure that you seem chill, like, you know, because there are people that aren't. Yeah, you want to be cool because then they see you as on their level sometimes. And most of the time, a lot of the time, they're not nice. Like, you know, whenever you're opening, they're usually not that great to you. Sometimes they are amazing.
That's one of my biggest fears, like meeting like one of my favorite celebrities and finding out they're dicks.
Yeah, dude, it's scary. I can't. And I always hear, like, even if I haven't met them, somebody's like, oh yeah, they're a dick, and I'm like, no.
See, that's why I keep my distance, because I'm like, I
don't want to find out.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what, I'm not even gonna say what up,
right?
I don't want to ruin this,
right?
Because if you're a dick to me, no matter what, every time I listen to your music, I'll be like, that fool is an asshole. Fuck this music.
Yep, there are plenty. There are plenty.
Like, just stay away.
Yeah, you don't want to support that. I don't know. But then there are people that are amazing and like so nice and gracious, but that you wouldn't expect too. It's just, I think it's so easy when especially when you've grown up in the industry, like a lot of the bigger artists are naturally just like, not necessarily assholes, but like they have that kind of like, I'm better than you thing, because they just didn't know anything else.
You know, the worst thing is when they're not even big artists and they have that that personality.
That's what drives me fucking crazy. You don't even have the right. You ain't Beyonce. Yeah, and you'll find that even more.
And it's crazy because you'll find out that artists like Beyonce, who are like at the top tier, they're the nicest, sweetest people. Because they just, I mean, it's almost like when you can get down. We talk about this all the time. Like, but when you're like a person who just has it all, you have all the money in the world, you have the best looks, you have no reason in your life to be upset, you know, and you just treat everybody with the best possible, like, or it could go the other way, but I've noticed a lot of people that we've known that like either like are super good looking, have a lot of money, are very successful, they're just very genuinely nice people, right? You know, they have no bad intentions.
Yeah, they better not have bad intentions. Pieces of shit.
Right. You got hella money. What are you mad about? You got so much money.
Yeah, you got a lot.
I feel like I couldn't understand why you wouldn't be super nice and gracious if you had everything that you've ever wanted.
I'd understand if you were like the Beatles and stuff, where like you're bombarded every day back in the day and you can't even go outside. I'd be a little bit like short tempered, like, hey man, I'm just trying to enjoy my meal. I'm eating right now and you're like in my face trying to get autograph, like, right.
No, I can't imagine. Or like, and you know how people are like outside of your home or whatever, like even now YouTubers and stuff, like those kids are like stalking them outside their house.
You seen that?
Yeah, that's real scary.
There's a limit to stuff like that, you know, like as a fan or whatever you want to call it, like you gotta be really respectful. Like, would you just go up to anybody and just like get in their face while they're eating?
Right. Or you gotta treat them like a human being. Like, no, there's a difference. If you're at their show, if you're at their thing, they're already prepared in that mindset that today's gonna be crazy. But if they're like, yo, I'm with my daughter right now, like, you know, like it's her birthday, we're having dinner, like chill. Don't come up and asking me for my autograph, like it's, you know, it's that kind of deal.
And it's just about being respectful. But I think when the younger the kids are and the fans are, like, they don't really get that line. They don't. So like, the picture.
The YouTube thing we're talking about, where I think it was a big YouTuber and people were showing up to their house. The parents were driving these kids to their house.
That Logan Paul.
And then getting mad. I think it was one of them boys. Yeah. But then the parents were getting mad and saying like, "Oh, you did. My daughter drove all the way." Like, what the fuck? You're outside of their house? That's hella weird. Like,
my kid bought $200 worth of your merchandise.
Great. Like, get away from me. Like, I don't know. That's where I feel like I would have a hard time. And then they're always painted as assholes, even if they're really just trying to like live their life.
Trying to be on their
that's why I always tell Chuck, like, if we ever become like successful and like, you know,
which
big,
when you become successful,
which we ain't,
we don't want to have that recognition. We would rather be like rich and powerful, but like behind the scenes, you know?
Same.
I'm cool. Nobody one person coming up to me, be like, "Oh, I've seen you on your podcast." Okay, cool.
Right, you're like, cool. Kisses.
Not like 1,000 people like bombarding me.
Yeah,
like,
no, that sounds
shit would
too
be
much.
so fun.
Let's talk about compliments, because you guys triggered something in me right now. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about compliments. Like, how do you take compliments? Like, do you get awkward about them? Like, if someone, "Oh my God, your music is so great," like, you know, I'm a huge fan, you just go, thanks? Or is it like,
I don't know, I just get really happy. It just means a lot. If somebody's taking the time out of their life to even say something nice to me, it really does, like, it fuels like me wanting to keep going. So I really try to make sure that they understand, like, I am so thankful. I try to like go above and beyond, be like, "Thank you so much. Like, what's your name?" And because like shit, like we have a lot of shit to do, and like you're gonna take your time to compliment me. Like, I don't know, but I get why people get awkward too, especially like if it's a lot of people or, you know, in a crowded room or whatever. Like,
it's like, how many responses can you come up with? Like, if you have 10 people in a row telling you, "Oh my God, you're so great," like, what do you thanks?
It's hard. You try to be personable, but then also like keep it moving. You know, like, I don't know. It just depends on like what the situation is. But I think, again, like if I'm going to compliment somebody, I would want them to at least be like, you know, "Thank you." Even if it doesn't have to be more than that. Yeah. If you're not a social person, that's fine. Okay.
There you go. There you go. That's the tea. We found that out from Jaslyn. Try to use it out.
Yeah, that's the one.
Let's talk about your like dream collaboration. Let's do two of them. Let's do a collaboration of two artists that outside of yourself, and then who would you want to dream a collaboration with?
Oh, okay, wait. So one person that I would want to collaborate with by myself.
And then two artists, like maybe mainstream or not mainstream or whatever, or maybe one mainstream and one who's not, and you know, what collaboration would you like to see?
Oh, okay.
Let you think about this one.
I know. I feel like if I could ever collaborate with anybody, it would be Justin Timberlake. because I just love that man. And that's another one. I heard he was a dick the other day, and I was like, oh
no.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times though too.
But again, he grew up in it. Like, you know, I get it. But I just love him as a performer and as a musician. Like, I just like seeing his live shows are just crazy. And I think he has a really interesting headspace as far as collaboration goes, because he kind of just does whatever the fuck he wants. And it's not always like his last album was not that successful, but he and Pharrell were just like, let's just do it. And they think more like sonically, and they're just super like about emotion and what they're going through. So that's why I would want to collaborate with him, because I just respect that. And he's not formulated at all. Like he's just like, I'm gonna do this, but he has his hits, of course. And somebody like people that I would want to see collaborate, I think like
Keem and Chuck.
There we go. Do a mixtape.
We're actually creating a band that we've been working on for years.
Are you kidding?
We haven't done anything yet.
Wait, really?
But
Is that a joke?
But we came up with a name.
Ooh, what is it?
Know?
What is it?
Oh, you forgot.
Is it the Funky Fluids?
Yeah.
Ooh, the Funky Fluids.
The Funky Fluids.
Are y'all gonna play funk too?
Yeah.
Wait, for real?
Because he does a talk box.
It's gonna happen one day.
One day. Maybe
I'm
2040.
I love that.
So here's our marketing goal, right? We're hoping to talk about it enough to where everybody knows about it, but there's nothing from us out.
There we go.
You know what I mean?
All right.
So then people go like, whoa, you hear about that funky? Where's it at? And they go searching for it and they find nothing.
No, it's gonna suck.
And then they want it even more.
When somebody takes our name.
Right. It's gonna be a bare Instagram with nothing and hella followers, like 100K. That sounds great. That sounds fun.
So what do you think for your collaboration?
I'd say like I loved when like Justin Timberlake collaborated with like a country artist like Chris Stapleton. I think that's always cool, like to fuse the two. I'd say like if maybe even if like Erykah Badu came out with something new, but it was with, I'm trying to think. That's like such a heavy.
Khalid.
That would be cool, like because he's like the younger, you know, the newer like pop generation. Do you guys know who Erin Allen Kane is? She's
Chuck has a better chance of knowing.
No.
Yeah, she's just like, she's dope. Like Prince discovered her, and like she's not super big, but she's just like crazy. So like I don't know, she's got this crazy soul voice. So like if somebody from like the older generation, which is like Erykah, could collaborate with somebody like newer that had that old school sense, I feel like that would be incredible. Yeah, something like that.
Nice.
I don't know. I'm down for all. Like honestly, anybody collaborating makes me happy. You know.
What's your Sorry, I had a little bit of.
I've been burping too. I'm like,
what's your pet peeve when you're in the studio?
I think it's usually distraction, honestly. Like, especially because I'm usually just in the studio with John. And just like if we're in the zone, like I like just staying in that zone. And if there's distractions as like a phone or like a person or whatever, like that is probably my biggest pet peeve, just because like I think that if you lose focus, sometimes like if me and John lose focus and we get distracted by something or somebody comes in the room or whatever, like we're not even in the same headspace anymore, you know? So that kind of is annoying. But that's about it. I don't mind if I'm sick, that sucks, you know? But I think just having a distraction from like being in the zone, because I think when you're in it, like you're just going crazy mentally. And like me and John can just like, we're just like, we just know each other really well. So
that's
what about being in the studio with an engineer who's not as invested?
Ooh, I think that just drives me crazy, because like as an engineer, like you are creating a personal relationship with the artist, and the artist is being super, super vulnerable and possibly writing about something that they're super emotional about. So you should be 100% invested. I won't work with engineers that I don't feel comfortable with. I just don't think it's right. Yeah. You know,
like if you're in there pouring your heart and soul and then they're on the phone the whole time.
Yeah, no, that's just like unacceptable. And as an engineer, you should know better. And anyways, like, so yeah, I think that drives me crazy, but I like being in the zone. Like even when I haven't worked with John, like they put candles and they're like, okay, where you at? And like really try to get the emotion out of you.
Oh,
you
that's
know?
cool.
So that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you had any crazy experiences when performing that either have gone terribly right or terribly wrong, whether it's a technical issue or, you know?
When I was younger, like when I was in vocal jazz at LVA, I chipped my tooth on the microphone because I burped and hiccuped at the same time.
Wait, you chipped your tooth on a microphone?
Yeah, like I was singing this Frank Sinatra song, but it was really, really low, like in the lowest key, and she wouldn't let me change the key. And I was like probably 16, and I like hiccup and burped. I don't know which one it was. It was like one of those like combination of things at the same time. At the same time, and I went, and then I chipped my. It was just a little chip, but I went, and my tooth hit the microphone really hard, and I just had to keep singing.
Like mid-sing? Like you're like,
it was like this, like literally, like my friend has a recording. It was so bad. It was so embarrassing, and my friend, like you can kind of hear my voice, like keep going. I kind of tried to swallow it. It was super bad, but that was the worst. Otherwise, I don't know. Oh, Life is Beautiful. I had a leather jacket on, and I was trying to like be cool and take it off, but I couldn't get it off. So
it was a little hot up that day.
It was so hot, and so I was like, and I think John ended up like pulling the sleeve or somebody like from behind me. It was so bad.
I kept it like halfway down.
I should have been. Yeah. But it was like, and I couldn't focus on the sound. I was like, it was so funny. So I usually fuck up on stage somehow. Like I'm just not to the point. I just try to take off my shoes sometimes. Like I just try to be really comfortable. Forgetting lyrics. So one time I changed the pronoun from he to she, like for the whole song. I was like, all right, we're gay. Okay, we're fine. This is about a girl now. Like,
you change your own lyrics on stage?
Yes. Oh my God.
That's dope though. I mean, you could do things like that. I mean,
right.
It's your song.
Yeah. But it's funny because my backup singers are like, okay, all right.
We gotta switch too.
Right. But yeah.
So when you perform right now, do you want to bring out a band with you, or are you gonna go towards the route for now of like having like a producer on stage with you, like John or something?
No, I've probably always wanted live instrumentation for sure. Yeah, it's just reteaching stuff to instruments and whatever, like, and paying for rehearsal space. It all takes time.
Yeah.
So right now I'm just trying to wait for like a really strong gig, like maybe opening for a national act or something. Mm-hmm. Just waiting for something to come along. I'd love to just like throw a show too, but I just need to like really like navigate like what's right, because right now me and John have like recorded like 6 new songs. We just have them in the vault, and like we're just trying to finish those out. Mm-hmm. So that's where my head is, but I would love to perform, and I don't think I would ever be comfortable doing just like producer beats, like vocal. I need energy.
See, that's dope though.
Yeah,
that's really tight, because bands are I'm a little like strict with them. And, like the band has to be pretty damn good for me to feel, because like it has to bring out that artist music to that next level.
Right.
Because like when I've heard like, let's just say they did an album that was all like, it's usually hip hop artists, it's just beats, but then they do a live instrumentation behind it. I'm like, yo, you gotta, for some reason those beats hit hard. You gotta hit hard like those beats. So I get really strict because I'm just
that's good though.
You
Yeah.
know, like, but a lot of them, the other part of me too is the artistry. I can't play drums. I can't, play all that like on that level. So I respect it in that sense too.
Right. Yeah. No, it's true though, because beats do hit really hard. So you have to have that same foundation. And a lot of the time that means simplifying instrumentation wise.
Exactly.
Like you have to simplify, because that's what people rock with. People aren't gonna be like, oh, you played like a flat 7, like that's tight. Like no, so I think it's really good that you noticed that, because that's something that I struggled with, because a lot of kids start playing jazz, so they want to play super out and just like crazy or improvising, but like you gotta like simplicity is key when it comes to live performance. You gotta stick, because that's what people know from the track. You can't just go out and do crazy shit.
Yeah. I feel that.
That's cool that you see that.
Yeah.
You went to LVA, right? You said, for high school. Yeah. Now LVA is a performing arts school, right? So everybody goes there has a major, which is what there's different majors: singing,
choir, dance, theater, guitar, jazz. I think they do languages now, dance. Yeah, it was just like all different creative.
Do you recommend somebody who is more in the creative arts go to a school like that, or do you think there's advantage versus not? Or
I think you could definitely do it either way, because I know incredible musicians that didn't get to go to a performing arts school, but for me it was just so awesome, because in high school I wasn't dealing with there's like high school drama or whatever, but it was like I was surrounded by creative people, which inspired me and pushed me to be better. Like all of my friends, like my best friends to this day are like went to LVA, and like they're dancers and they're singers, and
it's a networking thing too.
It really is, because have my entire band went to LVA except for one, and I think it's so cool to be involved in that and like be singing every day, but I think you could also do if you have a natural talent and you just went to a normal high school, you can kill it too. It doesn't matter. But I'm obsessed with that school. I think it's incredible. You know?
Yeah, I think it's also like when I ask a lot of either filmmakers or photographers, like, do you think you need to go to college for photography or video? And they'll always give me one of two answers. Like, one, no, because you can learn everything online, right? But two, yes, if you're that kind of person who doesn't have that natural, I'm gonna go out there and meet everybody and do that. So you need a set place where everyone's gonna come to you and you're gonna be surrounded by people who are creative and have that network of now I met Chuck and he's my gaffer, he's my DP, or and we're gonna be constantly surrounded because we're at school together 8 to 10 hours a day, and then we have these ideas of short films we want to do, and then we just build that camaraderie, right?
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I mean, and plus a lot of people work differently. Some people can 100% just go out there and do it and then use the internet to their advantage to learn what they don't know. And then some people need that structure. Some people need that, like, go to college for video, for filmmaking. Like, I need to learn lighting from an instructor. I need to, they need to have that set course guide in their head,
No, I think it depends what avenue you want to take, as far as like what you're studying. But it's like college is kind of a hit or miss, I think. I don't know, depending on what creative aspect you're going to. Like when I went to Berklee for a year in Boston, and it was awesome, but I learned more about like networking with people than I did in like class. Like there were some classes that were great, but I met people that inspired me and like had done stuff in the industry, and that's what I really like got from it. It wasn't necessarily textbook shit. Yeah. But then like if you're studying engineering or production, like you need to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Like there's a lot of technical stuff. But John didn't, and he's
that's what I'm saying. It's like so you said I'm pretty ignorant. You said Berklee. That's a pretty prestigious school, isn't it?
It's just it was a music school. Yeah, it's like one of the main music schools. It was in Boston. Yeah.
A lot of people are like aspire to go to that school, right?
That's like the one, like, let's go there, and
But did you go all years?
Just a year. I'm broke.
Just a year?
Yeah, that shit was expensive.
No, yeah, I was gonna say that place looks like expensive.
I think I went a year and a half. I don't remember, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, my grandpa was like, I'm gonna help you out, like whatever, and we had, my family doesn't have any money, so. Yeah. They give you a talent-based scholarship, so you didn't have to take SATs or anything. It was all based off your audition, which is tight. It's tight, but then it's also like, damn, all this work I did in high school doesn't matter. Like, it's all, So then I got a talent-based scholarship, which was great, but it's still just like so expensive. But it's amazing. Like the school's great, but they're money hungry.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think colleges, period.
Oh yeah, all of them are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so I went to the Art Institute for audio engineering. I was originally. Wait, was that wasn't where I met John? No, it was Cashman. It was definitely Cashman. So I got to the Art Institute for audio engineering, so I wanted to be like a studio engineer for music, live sound production, all that stuff. And I feel that the education I got there could have easily been condensed to about 18 months at as opposed to getting a degree. You could have gotten a what do you call those, certificate of completions, or a certificate of like authenticity, whatever it is,
right?
Like that says, okay, Keem is trained in the art of Pro Tools and he mastered this software, he knows these technical things about how to operate a mixing board and running a console and all that good stuff, because there was a program in Phoenix, I think it was, the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences, and I think it was either like 9 or 18 months, but you literally went there and you got down and dirty, like you got straight to work, setting up a studio, recording, mic techniques, the technicalities of running a board and all that stuff, and how to take it apart, put it back together. And I think that is undervalued in today's society because everybody wants that degree.
Right.
They want that piece of paper that says, oh, I went to college and I went to, as opposed to getting the technical experience.
I just thought of something. It's like now we live in the age of like master classes and actually being more hands-on, and I think those are the best ways to learn.
Sure.
So I say anybody, and this even goes because I produce music.
Do you? Oh my God.
So when I watch people producing music, that's when I learn the most. Like when I watch like Sam Gellicher or any of these cats like producing music and how like their workflow is and what they do, that's when I learn the most. I never went to school for anything, so I couldn't really tell you, but from what I've heard of, I heard it's like,
yeah, I mean, you can learn just as much in a time efficient way from a master class, from a 9-month program. Like you can, and honestly, I consider it better because you just don't want to waste time, especially if you're in the creative field. Like so many people are popping up, and the more time that you waste, somebody else is going to take your spot. So I think the quicker you can learn it, and if it's hands-on, it usually sticks as opposed to like textbook stuff. Like I learn more from just like hands-on, like, like psychologically than I do from textbook. I've never been like an academic person ever. So yeah, I agree 100%.
Because like, think about it. If you went to like a sound engineer that you loved and you loved his mastering and mixing, and you maybe try to hit him up, depending on how big he is, and he's like, I have $5,000, $10,000, nowhere close to how much, you know what I mean, college costs sometimes. And you got to sit with him for a week and watch him work.
Not in
you know what I mean? You know how much you'd learn?
Yeah.
For a smaller amount of money.
There's a guy here in Vegas, Trevor Mayfield. He built an entire recording studio out of his house. He tore down walls, and it's a legitimate studio. Like he's got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment in his house, and it's like in a townhome. And it's like, but he has this thing where he's a really good. He knows all the technicality of how to put things apart, put them back together. He offers an internship program where you're like, it's $6,500 or whatever. I forgot how much it was at the time, but it's like it's like a 6-month program. You come in every day and I teach you everything I know.
I do that.
I'm like, that's
$6,500. That's it. That's cheap.
Compared to $100,000.
Oh my god!
To go to this college.
That follows you. Yeah. No, hell yeah, and it's hands on, and you get more. You're not in a huge class full of 30 people. You're hands on, like it's personable, and I 100%.
So you heard it here, y'all. Master classes.
I don't know if you've heard of Sound City. There's a documentary called Sound City that was produced by Dave Grohl. And yeah,
you'll love it.
Yeah, you'll love it. Yeah, it's basically, there's a studio in Van Nuys in the 70s and 80s and 90s. I think he just went out of business recently. But it was a studio where everybody recorded their hits. Like you're talking about Nirvana.
Everybody.
You're talking about Scorpions. What's the other one? REO Speedwagon, all the major acts of the 70s and 80s, they recorded there, and it's a tape-based studio, so they didn't record digitally, which is eventually what took them out of business because they refused to go digital. They were all tape. But I think some of the engineers that worked there, they never went to college for audio. They just like there was an engineer there, and I was just a runner. I was just a guy who was I was a guy who just carried things here and there, brought lunch or whatever, and eventually somebody left and I got bumped up, and and now they're like world renowned engineers. Like they're working with the best of the best because they were constantly in that environment, you know what I mean? So I do believe to an extent, like it's all about who you learn from and how far you're into. Now, of course, you're gonna have those people who really don't care about learning, and they can be around it all day. They're not gonna take it to heart. Yeah. But if they're passionate about it and they care about it, it's gonna show.
No, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. I need to watch that.
Yeah,
that seems interesting because it's true. I think the more hands-on you have, and you just learn more.
Because your most experiences from when you did those experiences.
Exactly.
Every live show you did wasn't because you read a textbook before you went on. You had to experience that whole entire thing, the bads, the goods. So it's interesting.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And I think college sometimes can kind of sometimes be a little bit too formulated on what you're learning.
Too binary, no, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
Well, not to get political, but these colleges always have an agenda, and it's always about making money.
For sure.
It's always let's keep it staffed, let's keep it going. Yeah. The quality of education, a lot of places, especially when it's a private college, it doesn't really matter that much.
Right.
Because there are those teachers, and I don't want to subtract those teachers
amazing,
that really love the passion and creativity, and they teach kids. So I can't minus them out.
I had one of those teachers in my entire academic career, and it was from grades 6 to 8. He was my orchestra teacher.
Oh,
yeah. I still keep in contact with him. But he was one of those guys that genuinely cared about you,
and
wanted to see you do
succeed.
better.
And those teachers save they save everything. Yeah. It's so important because that doesn't leave you when you're 30. You're still like, I remember my teacher. She really helped me.
Well, because you think we were talking about earlier is the formative years. It's the years where your brain's forming, and it's kind of like you're more likely to remember those years because that's when they had the biggest impact, right?
Exactly.
You were figuring out who you were and what kind of person you were going to be. I mean, it's like your parents are such a big influence in your life because they're there for those formative years.
That's very true.
Let's talk about the fact that you recently released a new visual for Mr. E.
Yeah.
Mr. E. Dope visual, by the way.
Thank you. It was fun.
Who was it that directed it? I had the name written down.
Triana, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She's an amazing
Triana Nesheva.
Yes. Yeah. She's awesome, and she and her boyfriend Ryan Galvin are work together a lot. And I had worked with him, and he was the director of photography. And he's incredible. He has just this amazing Alexa camera.
Oh my God.
I don't know, but I know it's nice, and he's dope.
Was that the Alexa in the background?
I don't know.
Oh, it was.
Did somebody say Alexa?
Yeah,
oh my God, I did say.
I was like, what was that? Sorry, we got Alexa, everybody, if you're listening.
That's so funny. That's amazing. Because I was like, is that the dog?
For those listening to the audio version podcast.
Oh, I just let him know.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's hilarious. That shit does work. That's how you know. That happened at my friend's house the other day. I was like, Alexa. But yeah, and they're awesome. And so I worked with them as a team, and then they just brought on like all these people. You just don't think about how many people you need on set to create it. You don't think about how much goes into it. I was so
how many total people were involved in that production?
Oh my God. I think they had a team of like 10 to 15 people for each day.
There you go.
It was just cuckoo. Like, and you really, as an artist, I really didn't think about it. I was just like, yeah, we're gonna make a music video. It's gonna be chill. I was stressed. I was sweating, 12-hour days, like, and lots of money invested. So, but they're awesome, and they're awesome in the way when I say like lots of money was invested, like they don't ask for much. Like if they think your product is awesome, like they're just willing to use what they have, right? Which is the fucking coolest thing ever. Because I don't have any money, like
right? Because if you were a Beyonce and you needed that same production, you would be talking about $30,000 for that production.
And so they were able to really like give me top quality stuff, a top quality production. So that was super, super cool. I had a great time. It was awesome. Yeah.
Nope. How did the concept come about for the video?
I was like on the treadmill one day and I was like, what do I want for this? And I was like, I think I should smoke a blunt and tell the story, and there should be a couple like eating steak and having like this internal battle. And that's how it, and so I messaged Triana and I was like, this is what I see. And then I found a house that we could rent that was like super, super retro and cool.
It was like an Airbnb kind of thing?
Yeah. Or no, it was this guy. He rents out his house and he just like redid the whole house. He's so cool. And he does it for really, really great prices. And I found him online.
The house looked very cinematic.
Yeah, it was super, super interesting. Yeah, it was super cool. And so then we just did it, and she helped me like continue the form of the storyline, because I was just like, yeah, a couple like me smoking blunt, Yeah. But and then I just kind of utilized all my resources and tried to find like a cool car. My great friend Zara helped me with that, and
So there was a lot of pre-production that happened.
Oh my God!
Before you shoot the video, yes. How long were you guys planning it before you actually had day one on set?
Months. I mean months. And it would get pushed back because we would not. Because you're working with variable.
You're working with 20 people's schedules, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was just. It was
see, I don't even have the experience on that level. So see, this is the things I'm talking about.
Well, I hadn't before either. Like I did one other music video and it was fine. But this one I was like, wow, this is a production. Like, and this was just a music video. Can you imagine a movie? Like Jesus Christ.
Yo, like storyboards take years sometimes.
Yes,
years.
That is.
I'm like, joke. What?
And you just don't think. Yeah. You're like, this looks cool. Like this is visually like stimulating, but like there is work. Yeah. I commend filmmakers for sure.
Well, look how long they took them to do Incredibles 2.
Hey, real quick, for what's that Monster Inc. the high school? Remember that one?
Monster University?
Monster University?
Yeah.
Did you know they said if they didn't have the rendering power that they did, like a normal computer that day, would it one frame would have took, I think, like a week long to render out. They said like 1,500 years it would have took if you tried to render out the whole music. No way. Yeah, on a regular computer. On a regular computer.
Oh my God.
Because they have these monster computers. But
well, when you're talking about companies like Disney and Pixar,
they have making a whole Toy Story warehouse full of computers right now.
They have something called render farms.
Okay.
Which is basically your computer that's like connected to this
multiple computers, right? So
network of computers,
computing power.
And then and then instead of like if you have your laptop or your phone, instead of using the processing power on that device, imagine having a whole factory of computers and you use it all simultaneously. So you're using that power to render out your frames.
That's crazy.
Because I know like I've had to wait hours for something to render out.
Really?
Like for like a 30-second clip, I've had to wait hours.
Yeah, like 3D animation too. Oh my gosh!
And we're talking about something that's not even on their level.
Yeah.
Like,
so that and that was all animation, right?
Yes.
But what was that one movie that came out and it was like there was an Asian lead and that's what made it a big deal, and it was like a murder mystery or something, and it was all done on like the computer, like the visual, like what I saw on the screen was a computer screen. Do you guys remember? It came out like last year and it was like somebody went missing, and I can't remember who was in it.
Oh, you're talking about
And it was all, and I read an article that
I was
said,
gonna say Battle.
Wait, is it that guy from Harold and Kumar?
yes,
Yeah.
I think so.
What is it?
It was this movie. It was like,
remember the Asian guy from Harold and Kumar?
Yeah, what's the movie though?
my God, I
His
can't
daughter
remember what
goes
it's
missing.
yes,
His
that's what
daughter
it was.
goes
I can't
missing
remember
and
what
he
it's
doesn't.
called. But
Was it a good movie?
It was amazing, and it was all done so that I was looking at a computer screen, right? Like the entire movie. But I read an article that said the entire one
okay, I remember hearing about that. Yeah,
one frame took like a week or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, that's insane
Yeah,
because it took them, I think, a really long time to make the film because of how.
Called Searching.
Yes, Searching. That's what it was called. That movie was crazy.
Yeah, I never watched it.
But I thought that was so interesting because they were showing, like, somebody made a 3-minute video of like showing how much it took to make it look like a computer screen, like for every single frame.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, it took a week for each, like, and I was just like, whoa,
Blows your mind.
crazy.
You know?
Yeah. So crazy.
I love the behind the scenes stuff.
Me too.
You know?
'Cause, like,
I mean, I love the finished product when it's already out.
Right.
But then when you find out the details of like, oh, they actually
Built the
to get this
entire
one
set.
shot, they actually spent this much money and it took this long to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and it
Yeah.
makes you feel good because you're like, whatever, you know, you realize that things do take time.
like
you know?
Fast and Furious, that one scene where like the car is like driving out the skyscraper to the other skyscraper.
Oh yeah.
okay.
They rebuilt the set like 12 times.
Jesus.
So they're just rebuilding this glass set,
Yeah.
and they keep running the cars through the thing
Oh
and destroying
my
these nice
gosh.
cars. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
You're
damn,
like,
bro.
damn, right. That's money for
that 3-second clip cost them probably like 20 million.
That's
You know?
crazy.
It just blows my mind.
It's
though.
crazy. And
Off tangent.
yeah, and you have to be a perfectionist to even be in that field, I feel, because like you really like when you're on set like that, like even when we were doing the Mr. E video, like she kept going, okay, again, and I was like, damn, like she needs that many. But like I was like, wow, she knows exactly visually what she wants. You have to have that mental capacity.
It's
for
just
that.
like when you're writing or you're singing, you know, you're just like, damn it, gotta do it again.
It's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That level of mastering your craft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful though. That's the enjoyable part of being a creative is like,
Right.
it's annoying because it's like, God damn it. Like, is this good or should I just release it? But it's just like, no, I'm going to keep doing it until I
Right.
feel right.
No, for sure.
So I gotta ask, the Mr. E was from your most recent project, right?
Yeah.
What was the name of it?
No, I'm actually just doing singles. So I just
Oh, was it?
released it. Mm-hmm.
But what was the name of your last? Because I was listening to your
That
last
was
project.
Homegirl. Yeah.
Homegirl.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Homegirl was my
Okay.
last project. Now I'm just doing singles. I'll probably release another one in the next couple weeks. I don't know if I'm gonna do a video. We'll see. We'll see how I feel.
What year did Homegirl come out in?
That was 2017.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm you know, a lot of people say you got to release over and over, like more, and I'm that's one of my biggest weaknesses.
Yeah.
But I can't write unless I'm going through something, so I'm very like, this is what I'm going through right now. You know, like I can't
Yeah.
just release
Yeah.
stuff. Like it just doesn't work for me.
Right.
But now I have like a bunch of songs that me and John are trying to finish, and I'm just gonna like release them all year. I don't want to put anything in a project because mentally I don't feel like I'm in one headspace. Like
Yeah.
in Homegirl I was, but now I'm not. So
Yeah.
just like, let's just throw this shit out.
Right.
That's tight though. Singles are where it's at.
I
Wait, so-
I thought I would hate it, but I was like, this is tight.
I always tell my buddy Nate, he's a rapper. I'm like, man, you got to work on singles. Like if you drop videos and singles back to back, then then when you have an audience, then drop an album that they
Right.
can enjoy. You know what I mean? As opposed to you drop, because I feel like it's also like a psychology of like, if you drop an entire album, people feel like they have to do more to listen to it.
Right.
And if they're not invested in you, they're not gonna listen to it.
Right.
As opposed to like, oh, here's a video. It's already got a certain amount of views. Here you go.
And
They're
people
more
have short
likely to check it
attention
out.
spans.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. To get them to
Super
listen
short.
to a whole song is like a lot, you know? No, I totally agree with that. And I didn't know that at first. I was like, I got to make albums. But like now I'm like, yeah, I think that's important because like you said, you gain an audience from, you know, singles and you gain more. I think like whenever I release a single, I think it gets more traction than like an entire album does, depending. But like that's what people actually, you know, because they have short attention spans, they can actually be like, all right, this isn't my favorite.
Because when you listen to an album,
Watch
you
it.
kind of have to invest your time to be like, okay, I got to listen to the
whole
entire
thing.
thing and like sit there because you can't just like skim through.
Right.
You know? 'Cause
Right.
that's not what an album is.
No, yeah,
So I can see
yeah.
why singles do a little bit better
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
short
Well, look
In
at
the
somebody
general.
like somebody like Hobson. You know, he just drops single after video after video,
Right.
and it's like I'm gonna watch it. You know. But if it's a whole album, I'm like,
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't know.
It's spaced out.
Unless you did like a whole entire movie for your album, then that'd be interesting.
Cool. Yeah, Beyonce did it.
For the cheating album one?
Yeah, that was crazy. Pretty much. You're not lying. It was. Oh, that was so good.
I didn't watch it.
I loved it. See, again, like it was a full ass movie. Like you have to dedicate time to that.
Let's talk about investing in yourself.
Ooh.
I feel like a lot of artists is one of, I mean, you know, us as artists, we're always looking for a way to like nickel and dime and kind of like, how can I do the most with the least amount of money? Or like, you know, how do you feel about people who don't invest in themselves, and what tips do you have for, you know, what advice do you have for people who you feel should invest in themselves?
Yeah.
And what does that mean to you?
Right. I think there's investing energy, there's investing money, there's investing time, you know? And I think if you have that confidence and know that your product should be shared with the world, that should drive your investment. You know, I've never grew up with money. I've never been great with money, you know? And so money to me isn't always the answer. Sometimes it's throwing out emails and, you know, meeting people and taking that extra energy that you have and putting it towards somebody that could better your path.
Right.
You know, and then it's sometimes working 10 times harder to save up money for you to produce something, you know? I think it's super, super important, but you have to have that confidence in wanting to grow. And some people don't, you know, they're like, I want to make music, but that's it. Like they don't have that extra, like, no, I have to make, people need to hear this, you know? And I think that's what pushes you. So I think if you can try to find that and mentally and say, you know, people need to hear this, I'm going to do whatever I can to make it work, then all the energy, all the money, all that stuff will come, you know, easily.
I like how you split it up into 3 different categories. You said investing energy, investing money, and investing time. Yeah. Right? If you can't invest money, your energy and your time better be into it, right?
There you go.
It's almost like the pyramid.
Yeah. No, it is.
If you have all 3.
TED Talk.
Right.
I mean, you gotta do at least 2 of the 3, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. And like, I'm not saying that anybody needs to have thousands of dollars because I don't. And a lot of people that, you know, just start out don't have money, but the time and the energy can bring you to money. It can.
Yep. That's, you know, 100% true. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's one of those things I always tell people, like, man, if you don't have money, then you need to be like on your social media, hitting up 10,000 people a day.
I'm telling you, man.
You know, if you're not gonna market yourself, if you're not gonna pay for marketing, then you need to go out there and be your own marketing. You need to go out there and, okay, you don't have money to pay a graphic designer, watch a YouTube video and find out how to use Photoshop to make something for yourself. You know what I mean? And
because they're always going to be, though, like, you know, I can see where some people say, like, oh, you have to focus, though, 100% into your craft. But I'm like, you can't. Certain people have adversities, you know what I mean? And you have to face those adversities. So, yeah, you have to suck it up sometimes, and you have to do that shitty work right now because you don't have that capital.
Exactly. You got to do all. You got to be your own manager. Yeah, no, that's so true because people don't talk about it enough. Like, you know, the music is so important and the most important part, but there's a whole bunch of other shit that you have to do. If you're independent, you have to wear a lot of hats. Yes, and it's hard and it's so exhausting. Like, I hate it, you know, but you got to do it. If you care, you have to do it.
Yep. 100%.
What do you think is one of the hardest hats for you to wear when it comes to being your own artist and having to do either your marketing, your social media, your songwriting, your recording, performing?
I think just the business side of it. Social media, business, emails, talking money, it just drives me crazy. Social media, honestly, too. I don't mind like posting pictures and like showing my personality. Yeah. But when it comes to like, you need to promote everything and you need to put money into promotion.
You have to start targeting people and doing all that. Yes. Because it's a technical aspect. Right. And there's jobs. People like get hired for that.
That's so like if you're signed if you're established, like you have all these different people doing all publicists, like you have so many people delegated out. And that must make it so much easier for you to put all of your energy into the music too. Because sometimes you get drained and like I'll find myself doing all the business and then I try to write that night and it doesn't come out, you know, because I'm just like, so I think, you have to wear all the hats, but it's not necessarily easy. I don't have a business side, a business head. I just don't. I have more of a creative one. But then it also comes to like, when you're wearing all the hats and you're having to do the business side of things, like I find trouble when I'm like, let's say I have a meeting with somebody, or I'm like, oh, this person could maybe like help me out, or, you know, push me into the industry in some way. Like, it's hard for me to navigate whether or not I'm being personable and like not fake, or like just like meeting with them because I need something. So that kind of thing drives me crazy too. Ooh. You know, like I'm like, okay, I need to start going to LA to network with people that I know that are A&Rs and stuff. But it's like, if I know them personally, like, am I just hanging out with them like to better myself? You know, I have hard time with that too. I'm like, I want to be genuine. Yeah. Like, I don't want to just be like, you work for Warner Chappell, I want to be your friend. Like, I want to genuinely like care about their life and not just want to better myself. But then you have to be selfish. I don't know. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot because like you said, like the business is usually something that artists have managers for, or management, or some kind of person that filters that out, because as an artist you just want to focus on the music, you just want to focus on creating, right? But when you talk about money, it's like two different opposite worlds, right? And we always talk about this too, like you'll always see like maybe someone who doesn't have the best product but they have the greatest like management of it, and how to distribute it, and they have all the right connections, and you know, and it goes down to like a photography shop. Maybe you have a business who doesn't have the best photographers, or you know, but they're making millions of dollars a year because they understand the business side of it. The marketing, they're able to go into the right place at the right time, like that all factors into it, you know. And it's two different sides of the brain, like it literally is, isn't it? Like the actual business side and the creative side are two opposite sides of the brain that they don't.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that it is, you know. It's hard. All the avenues are tricky, but that one is tricky because it's psychological, but it's also business. I don't know.
I think it's just like, it's what you're passionate, because there's some people who love technical business work. They're like, I love trying to figure things out. And I'm like, that's cool. That's like math. Like when some people love math, I'm like, ugh.
I'm like, can't relate, but cool. Cool on you. But that, and then that's their profession, and then they make their living off of that, and that's great. Like, there are people for that reason. Like, I think all labels need that type of person. You know. But
yeah, so you heard it here. If you don't get the money, you gotta kind of do it yourself. Try your best, kill it, you know. But gaining a little bit of capital, a little bit of marketing can help your creativeness. Because that's the one thing I'm faced with. I'm like, that's why I'm trying to just hustle hard now. So when I start going back into music, I have a little bit ease of mind. You know what I mean? So I'm savings, all this stuff, and I can be like, okay, I can put a little money into it. See what happens with it. You know what I mean? But I don't want to discourage people who want to try to make like a living off of music instantly, because people do it. You know? It's not impossible either. I'm
it's
lazy.
Great though that but it's great that you can even like say that and sacrifice the time and know that it's going to better your future. You know, like I have a friend in New York, she's a dancer, and she's like, I'm gonna work 2 jobs for a hot minute, make all my money, and then I'm gonna try, you know. And so I think that's what I thought of the second you said that, because it's true. Like, there's nothing wrong with that too. There's nothing wrong with working hella like right now, and then, you know,
because age ain't a thing but another.
It ain't.
You know,
it ain't. It really ain't.
It really is.
Touch your word.
Okay, I hate you.
Let's talk about a controversial topic here.
Ooh,
quality versus quantity.
Ooh,
we talk about this a lot.
Subjective.
we want to get your opinion on it.
Okay.
Do you think it's more important for somebody to put out quality content, or do you think we live in a digital age where you said people have short attention spans, and you gotta just, if you can drop a song every week, you know?
Yeah. Depends on the artist. I think it depends on the talent, because like if you're dropping a song a week and it's super emotional and amazing and people love it, like fuck yeah, like people are gonna love it. Like even like I don't want to talk about, I'm not crazy about him, but the XXX guy that passed away, all his songs were like a minute, and he was just dropping shit, and it wasn't like the craziest, most amazing quality, but people fell in love with it because it was raw and emotional, you know. But then I think there has to be some quality behind it for me personally to respect it. I don't know, you know, like I think you just don't want to throw out shit just to throw out shit. Like, so I'm balance. I don't know.
It's that whole thing, because you can run in circles all day long, because it's subjective, because like something I like, you're not gonna like, you know what I mean? Something that I like, Keem doesn't like, and that's just facts. For sure. I think it's it's personal preference, but I think definitely having just quality just makes people like, it makes people like more. You can't cheat yourself. Like when you work out, you can't cheat yourself. To like, don't cheat yourself. And
let me
damn
do
it.
Like 10 5-minute workouts a day. Like, no, you know, like it's the same idea, you know, but like there are people that are probably putting out quality projects every week too, you know, or quality songs. So, but I think some type of quality makes a difference.
See, and I will say this though. and especially in hip hop, right? You can drop a new song every 2 weeks, right? Or every week. And it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but my attention span for hip hop is like, if I like a new song, it's cool, but then I'm over it in a week or two. But if I like a new, and then I can get used to that. But if it's a singer, there's usually, if it's a really good song and it's a singer, like that's a produced song, I will want to listen to it for a while. You know what I mean? And let it really like live its like life with me, like it's its time span, as opposed to a rap song. Like I was telling my buddy Nate this. I'm like, well, here's your problem, man. You're dropping too many projects, and every project has like 10, 15 songs on it. Like there's too many. You're dropping too much content,
which that is amazing in itself.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's amazing, and it requires a lot of energy for sure. But I think sometimes it's almost cooler, and it makes when you leave people wanting more. It's like people are like, oh, like I need it, as opposed to like I have all this shit I gotta listen to. It's like so yeah. I think I don't know. It just depends on your audience too.
Good answer.
You never know.
How do you respond to criticism?
I'm super sensitive, so I could say that like I love criticism, which I do. Constructively, I fucking love it. Like especially from somebody that is their opinion. Or musicians too, I think is like I love like when John criticizes me, give me all of it. I need it all. Like tell me exactly what you like, what you don't, what I'm doing wrong. But there's some type of criticism that to me isn't constructive, and especially like people commenting on videos and being like lose weight, like, or like
oh yeah, that's just hate.
That's not constructive or criticism. Like, that's just being stupid. Yeah.
Right. But I think it's if as an artist you respect who's criticizing you, then like take it in.
And I also think anybody who tries to give constructive criticism, they need to understand too that they need to respectfully say it. So like,
there's a way
maybe
to say it.
You should try this. Not this sounds terrible. Put a snare in here. Like that's your opinion.
You have to know how to fucking say it, and because people really don't realize that. And it like if I've had a couple people like say something to me and they were trying to be constructive, but the way they said it made me never want to fuck with them.
Yeah, I'm like never gonna listen to you.
Cool. Yeah, like cool. You're not even. I don't like the tone, but there's a way to say it, and I think there's nothing wrong. I love giving like constructive criticism in a you can do it in a sweet way too.
A really sweet way.
There's such a way to do it. Like,
and it's all. I also feel like it's also needs to be asked for.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, don't give me your constructive criticism if I'm not asking for it.
Unless they say, how do you like it?
Yeah.
Right.
If you say like, oh, okay, here's a new song, like, I like it, but what do you think could be improved? That's an open, as opposed to like, oh, check out this new song I just recorded.
Right.
Oh, I like it, but this part right here does not really, well, I didn't really ask for. I'm happy with how it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
And sometimes it really isn't that constructive. Like, oh, this part doesn't sound great. Okay, what am I gonna do with that?
Okay, if you're gonna offer like something that's wrong with it, offer also a solution, right?
Yeah,
right.
How do you fix that problem? Oh my God,
preach! Everybody listen to that, please, Lord, because it really gets frustrating. Like, especially when you want criticism and you want to learn and grow, and people are giving you half-ass.
It just needs a little bit more oomph.
Yeah, I'm like,
what the fuck does that
mean? Literally, like, do you want to create it? Like,
show me this.
Right? How would I do that? Like, yeah, I can't. And I think I really do commend people that know how to give it, because I love it. Like, even I remember a couple of my friends that are musicians and that aren't would tell me, like, homegirl, they were like, there were a lot of filters on your voice. Like the rawness of your voice was taken away a little bit. And I was like, oh shit.
Oh, see,
like,
that's really
I didn't even notice that. So now me and John are like, don't put any extra, like don't put too much on my voice. And they're like, it sounds more like you, like that really fucking helped me, and didn't say it in a rude way. And those types of things, like, just really, really help you. Because now for the rest of my life, I'm gonna make sure I don't have too many filters on my voice, like taking away all the nuances and stuff, But then there are also people saying dumb shit. I don't know. Drive me crazy.
Dope. That's a good conversation right there. We're coming up on our time right now.
Okay.
But real quick, what is something that you have coming up on the horizon for your career?
Okay, so my next single, I'm deciding when it's going to come out right now, but it is it's called Wild, and it's probably my favorite song I've ever written. And so John and I right now are just working together and releasing stuff. So I'll be releasing that in a live session that we're gonna like film outside. It's gonna be super dope and raw. So that's coming up. That's my next project.
But no dates yet.
No dates yet. Yeah, I'm gonna say not too long though, because you can't. I don't want to be waiting too long, and it's ready.
6 months.
Right, 6 months, and I've been there, but that's coming up. I'm super excited, and I'm gonna try to be booking some more performances coming up in the summer and stuff too.
Good
Very
stuff.
dope.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy if we had somebody come on here and we're like, well, have a new album coming out in 4 years. Give me 4 years.
I'm telling you, Solange just did
I'm probably gonna set a reminder right now. 4 years.
Me and Kima got to do a short film in 2 years.
You're funky, whatever.
Yeah.
Funky fluids.
Oh, yeah, in our music.
2040, like you said.
2040 for sure.
Dope. Where can people find you online?
So I am brose.com is my website, and then brose music is all my handles. Yeah.
There we go.
Thank
Consistent
you guys.
handles.
Nice.
Make sure you guys check her out on YouTube. You search B Rose, right?
Yeah.
B Rose Music.
Yeah, B Rose.
Yeah, her new single, Mr. E music video is out. Super dope. You guys should check it out. There's a lot that went into that video. But thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you guys so much. This was dope.
Thank you.
Dope. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you guys on the next morning dinner.
Later.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen, in the goddamn refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.